Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Muscular Dystrophy Foundation of South Africa's YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe or like our videos if you enjoy the content. It's June, and June is Myasthenia Gravis Awareness Month. Last year, we spoke to Tato Ramansi, and this year, we're going to speak to David Viljoen. Welcome, David, and thank you for your time.
Well, it's great to finally be able to talk to you. So yes, I'm very excited. Thank you.
Yeah, we had some problems, some technical difficulties for a week, but I think we sorted it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
David, when did your journey begin with myasthenia gravis? Tell us a little bit about that first days with the symptoms that when did you get the symptoms? And I do understand that you were an entrepreneur and then were put into a very difficult position because of this disease.
Yeah. It's I can't believe how the time was flying, but it's roughly about 10 years ago. Um, I'm a hairdresser and I had my own hair salon, and I, I, I was always busy and on the go and whatever. And then I found that I was stumbling a lot. I would walk through the mall where my salon was, and I would just fall down. And people were actually thinking that maybe he had something to drink or something because we didn't know what was going on. And then eventually, I was taken to the hospital, and the ER doctor said to me that you are stressed out, overworked. You've got to take a break. You can't work the way that you are doing. So I said, okay, fine. But then it wasn't long thereafter that I had to go back again. And fortunately, the same doctor was on call. And I said to her, please just don't tell me I'm tired. There's something else going on. And she said, no, definitely there is something going on. So we started physio, and funny enough, the physio lady actually said there is definitely something on, and she recommended me to a neurologist here in Stellenbosch, where I live, and she's a specialist in myasthenia gravis. And she said at that time it was just she said come back the next day. I'm going to put you in the hospital. We're going to start tests or whatever, and there it all started. So yeah, I was diagnosed at that time.
Yeah, and then of course the progression over the years. Is it a very slow progression, or a slow progression, or is it very consistent?
Um, Look, I mean, it's been a couple of years now. So in the beginning, it was I still could work, um, but over the years, definitely there's been a progression in terms of at the moment I can't work. I've had to give up hairdressing. So it's taken some time for me to uh, really come to terms with this whole thing. But um, I'm at the point where I'm now I've accepted everything, because I think if your mindset is right and you keep yourself occupied with things to keep yourself busy. I'm still doing hairdressing on a part-time basis, and then also doing some work online. Um, so I think again, it's just the mindset. I think it's very hard in the beginning because you kind of like think, why did this happen, and blah blah blah. Some people find that they have very mild symptoms, and then others find they've got life-threatening issues going on, and they've got to go to a hospital and all that sort of thing. So it's a very um, we also call it the snowflake disease, because like a snowflake, everybody with myasthenia is different to the next person. You present very differently. So, like my doctor said, and she's a neurologist specializing in myasthenia gravis. She could have a ward with 100 people lying there with myasthenia, and they all present differently.
Yeah, no, and I mean, myasthenia gravis is not your typical muscular dystrophy where the muscle is affected. How does it work with MG? What is the cause of the disease?
You know what? They basically don't actually know how this starts and where this comes from. But um, I struggled for a long time to understand all this stuff because the doctors or the neurologists would tell you all these very medical things that just, I didn't even know what myasthenia gravis was. I had to learn how to pronounce the word. But basically, what made me understand it, to put it in layman's terms, is that you there's a message from the brain that's sending a signal to the muscles, your arms, your legs, whatever. But there's a blockage in between, and that causes the problem where the weakness comes in, and so forth. Some people have ocular myasthenia, so it's in the eyes. Um, in my case, it's generalized myasthenia, so it's the eyes, it's all the muscles you can, probably think of. Um, and then also, facial um, uh, weakness, especially when you are at a social function and somebody says, "Okay, smile now." You go,
When you are a bit under stress,
that's about the best you can do.
it's a bit worse when you're under stress as well.
Yeah. Stress is a big thing. And then also heat or weather conditions that are extreme. So, like for me, and I know from a lot of other people that I've spoken to with MG, in summer when it gets so hot, I mean, you can only take off so much clothing in public before you get locked up for indecent exposure.
So, but you are still mobile. Are you mobile? Do you use any mobility devices?
Yes, I'm mobile in terms of I can still walk, but long distances and whatever. So if I go to a shopping center, I need to use a wheelchair because it just becomes a problem that I become too weak after walking a bit and then fall down and that sort of thing. So just to um, prevent that sort of thing, use a wheelchair. And that's taken me quite some time to accept that because in the beginning days, I got a walker and a wheelchair, but I couldn't accept this walker because I just thought, no, man, I'm not going to at my age now, do this sort of thing. And I actually donated to a member of MDF Foundation, and she kept it. And then at some point, when I realized I needed, she gave it back to me. So I made peace with that. So at the moment, yes, when I go into public places like the shopping centers, I use a wheelchair.
Okay, so so you have that issue of the accessibility, like most of us who are permanently in a wheelchair as well.
No. Fortunately, I'm not permanently in a wheelchair. But it is quite amazing that when I go in my wheelchair to a shopping center, let's say check a Pick and Pay, a Spa, whatever, and then I'm in my wheelchair and I need to reach for something on the top shelf, and I stand up and I get the product that I want, and you can just hear the people go, "Oh, it's a miracle! He's standing up."
Well, David, you never
So
featured
mine is really a very it's a rare disease because the one day you are fine, the next day you're not. So I'm just very lucky that I've got so much support around me. Um, I've got, I know there are a lot of MG people that are not properly diagnosed, but I've been lucky that I've got a team of doctors that know me from day one. So, and then of course, I've got my family and my friends that completely understand. So I think that's a huge part of it. And if your mindset is right, then I think you've got, you're already well on your way.
Yeah, the one thing that I always ask the persons I interview is, how do you deal with this? What is your superpower? Yeah.
You know what, Marinus, look, it took me a while. So, and I'm sure other people with any other sort of like illness, like myasthenia and uh, muscle dystrophy, in the beginning, it's very hard, but you adapt yourself after a while and you kind of like just make peace with the whole thing and you just say, okay, this is it. So, spiritually, I'm fine. I get a lot of support from my friends and my partner and my family and whatever, and that really carries me through. So if I've got a moment where I just need to, I don't want to say the word, but moan and groan, then I know I can just phone someone and just say, "Oh man, this is like not so lekker." But then you carry on again. You really just adapt to the whole situation, and you try and be as positive as you can. You're not in denial. You're accepting what is going on, and it's not lekker, but you just try and be positive. Look at the positives. It's like um, wake up, dress up, and show up.
If there's well, the first thing I just wanted to ask, do you do exercises or anything that keeps you going? Or is that not something you're interested in?
No, definitely I do because I do find myself that it's almost like my body becomes very stiff. So basic sort of like exercises, stretch, whatever, that type of thing. Um, and I found with myself that in the beginning that I would um, not be so mobile. I would just be sitting around. But I found that, you know, what you can do, whether it's like, doesn't matter how small or big the task is, just try and do something. It makes me feel better that I've been able to wash 2 cups
Yeah. David,
instead of the whole.
yeah, what if there's one piece of advice you can give to the members out there, what would that be?
I know it's very hard because I've heard so many stories of people with myasthenia that we um, people think that we are lazy. People think that we just trying to con out whatever. Try and get yourself um, a support group where you can speak to other people. If you've got people that are close to you and they understand, um, and be kind to yourself. Just say to yourself, okay, today I can do so much. Um, Tomorrow I'm going to be fine again, and whatever. So uh, don't feel judged by people because a lot of times they do say, but I saw you yesterday and you were fine. What's going on now? You know your body. So be kind to yourself and just be strong.
Thank you so much, David. I see we are almost out of time, so I really, really appreciate your time. I know you've got load shedding coming up. It's late in the day. We're all tired. I really appreciate you giving us some advice and information about your life. Thank you so much.
I appreciate the time having to talk to you. And I'm so glad we finally got it right.
You know what? You have to just try and try and try. Aanhouer wen, they say in Afrikaans.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.